What's up, folks? My name is Jeff, and you are listening to the new Dirty Decibels podcast. And I am hanging out with Dug McCormack. You know him from his band Psychic Dog, his newer bands Beluga Ethereum, and he is a visual artist. He's a creator. He's been doing live art sessions online, and I'm super stoked to be hanging out with you. So thanks for coming on, man.
Thanks for having me. This is
You're welcome.
It's always nice to talk to humans, you know.
Yeah, dude, that's the thing. This starting this again has just been like, it's basically just given me something to do and like to catch up with people and like chat and just have like some interaction with another person.
Well, and it gives you something to edit and something to do, you know, something to look forward to, you know. Schedule's good, you know.
Yeah. I'm definitely in the crowd of people that had their career kind of shelved and obliterated when this whole thing started. So it's been kind of rough. It's been rough, obviously, like, you know, not having work wise, but it's also been rough just like not going insane. So
yeah,
definitely is.
I've been lucky enough. My wife and I have been lucky enough to continue working this whole time. It's been, you know, it's stressful, you know, but it's one less thing to worry about. Like, where is money coming from? And, you know, it's a good thing to keep us busy most of the day, you know.
For sure. Are you coming to us now from your, do you have a studio in your home? Are you in your home now?
Yeah, we have an apartment, and she has a room for painting. She's a painter as well. And then I have a room for painting, and this is kind of it was like a little sun porch that they put a wall up on, and then we have a little back porch too. So
nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And are you do you work out from your home, or do you
no. Okay. I work in Cambridge. I'm a lab tech, so get out of the house, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
I haven't taken the T in a long, you know, I don't even know how long, so do a lot of walking. So
yeah, same. I haven't like, I live pretty far outside of the city right now, and I have not I don't think I've been on the tee since the summertime.
I
think I went to a rally and that was it.
For me, I think.
Yeah. It's crazy, man. You don't even think about stuff like that. Like, I at that point hadn't even gotten on the tee since probably before March, and then I realized it was like, you know, middle of the summer, and was like, wow, I haven't even been on the train. Like, it's crazy. But you've definitely been doing what I think most of us have been doing, which is like everything you can do during this whole thing, you know. And I know I mentioned like it before online, but I noticed a lot of people right when the pandemic kind of started, they all sort of stepped up with their own thing. Like they all kind of came at it with like their own little piece to contribute to like making everybody's lives better. And yours has been this live music now hashtag, I guess you could call it, or live music now tagline.
And everybody has their own hashtag and all that stuff, and I was like, I'm not even getting, because then I got to stick with it, so I just put music or live music now. Go for it. If you want to click the link, please do so. I mean,
it's awesome. It's like the Krispy Kreme with the hot donuts now sign. That's what it makes me think of every time. It's just like pull over. And it's been great, because I feel like you've been just like really in touch with a lot of the live streaming that's been going on and sharing that whenever you're seeing it. So it's been cool.
And that's all I do. I some people mention things and I'll try and remember, write stuff down, share it. But if I see it, I'll share it. If it's music, I'll share it. If it's art, I'll share it. You know, as long as it's not hate speech and, you know, bullshit, you know, I'll share it. And when I do the live art, it's the same thing. I say it every time. It's like, even if you can't go to the event, even when this is all over, if someone has an album, if someone has an event, just share the link. Sharing it you don't even have to say you're interested. Just share it. You don't have to write anything. Share it. One extra person will see it, and that will help that artist, that musician, whatever is going on. You could be the one spreading the word for them. It's so easy. People think you have to be involved. You have to go to the event. Oh, if I say I'm interested, somebody's going to call me out on it or something. It's like, no, just fucking share it. And it's easy. It's free. And on the platform of social media, even if you're paying to have your post boosted, it doesn't do anything. People in Borneo see it more than people in Massachusetts.
Totally.
If you boost oh, here's our new album, nobody sees it.
Yeah. Like all it takes is for you to be the one person that shares something, and like one other person has to see it at like just the right time. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure. Were you doing your live streaming sessions at all before the pandemic started, or was it
No.
just since it started?
Yeah, I think it was like beginning of April I started doing it.
Okay.
Because I was creativity, it flows, ebbs and flows, and for me, my art has suffered this entire time. Music has been great, which before this was suffering, at least to me. I wasn't writing, I wasn't creating musically, and now I'm having a hard time with art. I'm starting to come out of it, but the Thursday night was for me to keep the juices flowing. Just keep going. Pretend like I'm talking to somebody. Maybe this will help somebody else with their day, help them center, help them move on, things like that. But I always admire people getting a guitar and doing a live stream, doing solo stuff. Nobody wants to hear me with just the guitar. I need volume and a lot of beer. You know what I mean? I don't even need people there, but there's gotta be more than just me. I'm not a finesse kind of guy. So it's the live music stream. It crossed my mind for a minute, and I was just like, no, it's not for me. And there were so many people doing it when it first started. There's still tons of great people doing it, but it was like everybody and their dad was doing it. So figured that was covered, and so I just went with art.
Yeah. The live streaming, it's hard because I feel like the nature of this has been just not kind to being creatively motivated in general. And so it's like, I remember talking to Derek early on, Derek Rossi from OC45, and just being like, yeah, like the live streaming thing, like within the first 2 months after the pandemic started, it was so easy to get burned out on that. Like, just because everybody was doing it, and like people who themselves are musicians and are not super creatively motivated are kind of like, well, why is this other person creatively motivated and I'm not? Now I feel shitty about it. So it's like, everybody's got to find their own thing. I feel like, throughout this, and it's not going to be the same thing from month to month. Like, it just changes. Like, it's just like 1 month it works, 1 month it doesn't,
Your brain chemistry changes, the environment changes, the news changes, everything fluctuates in it. And we've never experienced anything like this before. And our brains, we've been fed all the information in the world, to help get us through, and it just makes it worse, but the point that you brought up is one. I've got my little spiel. I got my whiteboard, write down events and things when I'm doing the live stream. And one of them is, don't base yourself, your creativity, or your happiness on somebody else's fucking social media account. I know people who have stuff from 2 years ago photographed so that they can put up a new post hourly and get all the hits. You know what I mean? And they're just as miserable as everybody else, but they're in Cancun right now, even though Cancun doesn't really exist. You know what I mean? It's all bullshit, and you can't rely on somebody else's being to make you happy.
It's also like, it's everybody's coping mechanism. So what you're watching is just somebody else trying to cope. Like, and you can't always fault them for it, but like either way, there's a lack of authenticity, because it's not for any other purpose. It's just them trying to cope like everybody else. So you kind of have to take it with a grain of salt in that sense.
I talk to the computer like I'm talking to, like, I have friends, and even with Kelly, my wife, when we hang out and paint, if we're on vacation, we're both working, it's like, okay, friends that are artists or musicians, just hanging out and creating and talking. Okay, this is what I'm doing. What are you doing? And it's helped me get through my own funk through all of this, is doing the live stream. It used to be more instructional, hey, we're going to do a cat, and now I take requests, try and make something happen that, you can see the process. And then sometimes I just kind of go for it. Because it's mostly for me, I mean, it's all about ego, you know what I mean? And I've got to milk it a little bit,
It's therapy though. Like totally.
Oh, yeah.
Like I can see how that would just be, like you said, like, even if you're not paying attention to like who's watching or how many people are watching or whatever. I mean, and it's 100% the same thing as doing this. Like I at the end of the day, I want listeners, because I want people like you to have the exposure, and like artists that I know that are really talented, that are doing cool stuff, to have the exposure. But on at the same time, like I couldn't give a shit how many people are listening to it or not listening to it. Like it's just the form of talk therapy that I've been accessed,
And if you can remove that from the process, you'll be better off. I mean, I still fight with it. At the beginning I was like, oh my God, there's only so many people watching. And now it's like, okay, nobody's watching. Cool. Well, I can do whatever I want then,
Right.
And it's, I get anywhere from, 5 to 15 people, and half of that's my family, so I'll take it, take it. I'll take any support, even if it's robots in Bangladesh watching me. I don't give a shit,
And so you've been taking, like, you kind of take people who are viewing through like your process of just like creating a piece, right? Like just start to finish, pretty much. You paint live.
Yep. So I'll paint,
throw on some music.
Yeah. And it's I got local music on my iPod, so that's going, and I'll be like, hey, this is this band, go check them out, whatever. That keeps me from getting kicked off or muted, because I used to get kicked off a lot when I would just play in the iPod with everything on it. I got music going, and people can send in any size donation, and leave a suggestion. Had party pigs last week. Okay, cool. That's it. That's all they tell me. Great, I'll do it. I don't get a ton of donations or requests. More donations than requests, but and the donations are split up 4 ways. Go to Black Lives Matter, move around the country. Then we go to Greater Boston Food Bank, a local club, if they have a GoFundMe up, and then the last little bit goes to buying local music and supplies for painting. So, it's not just going to me. Again, it's that thing. Nobody knows what to do. Last year was crazy. The year before was crazy. America's crazy. If I'm able to have a voice, I should use it for good.
Yeah.
And, did a fundraiser in March. I think I made $600. Black Lives Matter. Boom. There you go. Just like, I'm not one to protest. I'm not a super political person, but I'm 100% for helping if I can.
Everybody's just been so good with like, it's made me happy, like just seeing everybody contribute in the way that they know how and the way they can. Like there's so many wonderful people out there that just genuinely want to help and like contribute to a lot of the issues that are going on right now, and be the the best allies they can. And what do we've got? We've got art, we've got music, we've got our our community here in Boston, like which is so rad. Like it is just the most supportive and like ferocious community that I can think of. So it's just been cool seeing everybody like just do their thing and just do it as best as they can,
and do it honestly. You know what I mean? We're not able to go out and kind of hide in our clique or hide in our our costume or our stage persona or in our booth, turning knobs. You know what I mean? It's like, if we want to present ourselves, it's most likely going to be the most honest that we can give right now, So.
Right. Yeah, totally. I think it's really cool too, because I think not a not a lot of people, I mean, on the music side of things in Boston, certainly like the community is really saturated with a lot of fantastic musicians, yourself included, and uh compilations that have gone out and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
doing the live art stuff like that you've been doing gives people kind of it changes it up. It gives you something different to kind of watch and get involved in. Um I'm not one to I'll be the first one to admit that I know I'm very much not an art expert, or like I don't know a lot about art. So I'm very curious to hear you talk about what some of your inspirations are for your style of art, because I look at the paintings you make and I feel like I'm not sophisticated enough to describe the style, but I can tell you that it's a Dug McCormack piece. Like,
Yeah.
and I can be like, that's Doug, which is amazing. I don't have the right type of vocabulary to like describe your style, and I would love to know like where you draw your inspirations from and what you would call your style of art
It's
specifically.
it's it's abstract art, and some cartoon stuff. Big influences: Ren and Stimpy, Warner Brothers cartoons, um, Picasso, de Kooning, Basquiat, um, Rualt. I mean, if I pulled up 5 of my favorite paintings, you go, oh, okay, I see where it is. And I mean, that's another thing that I always say is like, when I'm doing the live art is I borrowed techniques from people I enjoyed. Either I learned them in school, or I saw them in a book, or saw a friend do it. Take it, tweak it. That's what art's about. That's what music is about. Take it and tweak it. Run with it as far as you can. Make it your own. That's what art is. It's about your release and your process. So I always, the disclaimer that this is my process. It's not the most, it's not correct. It's not archival. It's not, all the big words. It's just me doing my thing, and some of the stuff I borrowed from other people. But I think, I mean, I love wearing my influences on my sleeve. If somebody says, hey, that's totally this, it's like, yeah, what part, what part, let's talk about that artist, or let's talk about that musician. I mean, I just love to gab, you know what I mean? So
Yeah. Yeah. How long have you been painting? Like, how has this been, just like since you're a kid?
yeah, since I was a kid. Yeah. I can remember the first thing that I was proud of. I can visually still see it in second grade. So just like
What was it?
we went to the Museum of Science, all right? And then it was like, what did you do on your summer vacation? So I drew the dinosaur area,
Yes.
where like the little whatever it is. And then I made my own pterodactyl in there. There was no flying dinosaurs at the Museum of Science at that point, so I was pissed. So I put my own in there, and I had the Tyrannosaurus and all the skeletons and the footprints. Everything was laid out perfectly to me, and I added something, and it was perfect. And I can remember still staring at it. Craypas, you remember those?
Yes.
The little oil, that smell. I still use those.
Yeah, dude. I do remember that. I do
Yeah.
remember that. I used to like drawing a lot when I was younger. It's kind of a shame, actually. I like never really did it much. I haven't done it much like as an adult. Like I doodle incessantly, but you're not it's so funny because it's like you're not a Massachusetts kid without like those grade school field trips to all the
Yeah.
Museum of Science,
Yep.
the Freedom Trail,
Yep.
the Paul Revere
Plymouth
House,
Plantation.
Plymouth Plantation. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, man. It's funny. You don't think about those things leaving an impression on you, but I guess they do. In one
Yeah.
way or another, they'll sneak in there. Have you been playing music for the same amount of time?
I started when I was 16. Started playing bass when I was 16. So 311, Stone Temple Pilots, Alice in Chains, all covers all the time. That's all we did. Once we found music, there were 4 of us, and that's all we did. Then everybody went their separate ways. Everybody kept playing music and stuff. But I moved over to guitar, learned some piano, and then, been doing it ever since.
So the latest project that you had going on before the pandemic is Belucatherium and
Belucatherium, and then Square Ape.
Square Ape.
Yeah, was a new kind of rock trio, similar to Psychic Dog, a little bit more guitar, a little bit more wank, as I like to call it. It's just kind of a little more riffy, little more air to it. At least that's what I was going for. At least that's what I thought I was doing. So, and we played one show last February. I think it was like last week was the year anniversary, and then we haven't played since that. So,
Yeah.
And we were a brand new band too. We recorded in November, and then we played our first show in February, and then that was it. And then we released the EP that we recorded in I think it was March 30th, just an arbitrary date. I wanted to be done with it. I wanted to get it out, so wasn't sure what was going to happen. So
where did you wind up recording it at? Who'd you record it with?
Hill House with Will.
Very nice. Yes.
Yeah. We did Belucatherium there, and then we did Square Ape, and then I just sent him, I've got a full length that I finished mixing, that I've been recording since December of last year, and sent him that to be mastered, and he sent that back, and it's amazing what mastering will do.
Yeah.
Amazing. Just like, I thought I was happy with my mixing. I spent months and months doing it. I was so toast, I couldn't listen to the songs anymore, and he sent it back, and I was like, oh my, a whole new life was in these songs. So I'm excited to get that out. My friends out in Montana, House of Watts Records is actually going to put it out. So we're working on all that stuff right now. There's talk of vinyl. I don't know though. It's 39 songs, so it'd be like a double album or something. So,
wow. Yeah.
But,
so it's 39 tracks that you recorded all yourself.
Yeah.
And when did you start recording them before the pandemic?
I started doing some stuff because I was trying to, woodshed some songs for Belucatherium, for Square Ape, get some new stuff going because we've been playing the same stuff for a while. And then everything happened, and I had no need to do that anymore. So I started looking at lyrics and stuff. My whole desk is just papers. And just plugging away, and I'd be recording something, then I'd play something else, and I'd be like, holy shit, record that. So it was just this endless cycle of creativity that I haven't had in a while, and I haven't had the time to do either,
Right.
So it was, I had a few people. I had Jess Jacobs from she was in Band Without Hands. She's out in LA now. She did some singing. I had my friend Megan do some singing, and then some guys from Lasertooth did some pianos, and my brother's a guitar player, so I was like, dude, I need some juicy guitar on here. My younger brother played bass on it. Ed from Belucatherium's on it as well. So I cast out a wide net trying to get people to collaborate, but it was like trying to pressure people in this environment isn't good for anybody, so I was just like, I'll send it out. I'll give you a reminder. If you don't get back to me, we'll do it another time, so, but.
It's two sides of a funky coin, because you got like, I guess in some ways it's brought out the upside of everybody figuring out how to do all this shit remotely and be like, hey, let me lay something down, send it to you, have you like,
yeah,
when you feel the itch to do it, like lay something on top of it, send it back to me. And like, that's all really cool. But then, like you said, like at the same time, you don't want to you don't want to pressure people. And you also feel like you don't know how to read other people being like, you're not a priority right now, because either I have X, Y, and Z to worry about, or just because I'm fucking miserable and like, don't want to do anything, So I think and that's navigating that
to try and read people over email or via text, you know what I mean? It was like, okay, that's 2. I'm going to leave it. You'll hear it when it comes out. You know what I mean? It's like, it's and it turned out great. The people that I got were fucking phenomenal, and they're peppered throughout, and I mean, you do your music, you can do everything and it'll sound okay, but when you add somebody else in, it changes everything. That's why I love playing in bands. I mean, I always try and surround myself with people who completely surpass what I do to make me sound better. You know what I mean? That's the main point.
Yeah, it's been the kicker of all this, man. It's just been that the lack of being able to do that has like just been like such a blow to everybody that is so talented, and like, oh man, it's a rough seeing everybody bummed out, It's like, I'm so happy on the one hand that everybody, most of the people that I know and care about and I'm in touch with are like safe and have been safe and like been keeping themselves healthy and everything. Or, if they've had their brush with the virus, they've made it through okay, my brother included, like survived it and everything. But it's just rough. The emotional social fallout from all this has like spread so much further than you even get to think about. So, it sucks because I feel like it's provided a lot of kindling for talking about stuff like this in a different way, like talking about art and the process and the journey that different people are going through with their art and sharing their art and making their art. And it's been interesting. It's been really introspective to like talk to people about it, but it's also like, it's hard not to also get bummed out on it, I guess, at the same time,
Yeah. I mean, in my, naive hippie kind of way, it's like, maybe this will open people up a little bit more. You can see that what got you through these times are art and music and creative people that aren't necessarily the highest on the totem pole in society. Maybe we should think about some of those people. Maybe those people can help people in our community feel better about themselves. Maybe they can help this, the environment feel better. I don't know. But to me, as soon as, I mean, I can already see it where I work. It's like, okay, cool. Vaccines rolling out. Everybody get fucking back to work. You know what I mean? And it's like, if you're in that job, just head down, power through, man. That's it. I mean, people like you, people in the sound industry, touring bands, things like that. I'm not sure how that's going to work, man. I mean,
yeah, dude, it's rough. It's like, but like you were just saying, like, I hope, and I like, the one thing I hope is that this has opened up eyes in mainstream American culture, capitalist culture, particularly, of the value of art and the value of artists on some level. And I know there's never going to be people who appreciate it as much as they should, but like, Jesus Christ, man, like, if there's ever something to make you appreciate creative people and what they do and how they, produce content for other people to consume and enjoy, it's an experience like this, so I think the real shocker, the real like testament to the evils of kind of capitalist culture will be who does and doesn't change their ways in regards to art and like make sure that artists, because the one thing that's always like struck me from, I haven't toured overseas or anything like that, but every time I've ever heard somebody tell a story about going to Europe playing music is the difference in the way that musicians are valued there, like the way that they're treated and paid in some regards, maybe not necessarily always like paid necessarily that well, but like, Christ, if you're not getting paid, you're at least you get a place to stay, you get
food,
you get fed, you get transportation, you get fans who will actually go to shows to see new music. Like, they'll go to see the headlining band, but they will be there when the doors open and they will watch the opening bands, they will buy their merch, they will get into them. And it's like just incredible, a difference.
It's culturally, it's huge. And I'm not even, I'm talking out of my ass, but I think music and art are more prevalent and more held up, sustained a little bit better in countries where they've seen war and things like that. You know what I mean? Like, okay, all this shit's going down. We need to come together. How are we going to come together? Music and art. And we need to sustain that because we don't know when another war is coming, you know? So Europe is a great example. It's like, okay, what got them through World War One? Okay, what got them through World War Two? Okay, you know, and how do we come back together? We're gonna get back together with music and everything. And I hope that happens in this country after, you know, that we're all a little bit more aware when we go in. I mean, it's kind of like with, I mean, the station fire in Rhode Island, you know, it was like we were playing it. We were living in New Bedford then, and we were going to shows. And like the day after that, we were playing a show, and one of the bands that went on before us was like, everybody look where the exits are. You know what I mean? And it was like really just like, holy shit, we have to be aware now. You know, It was a tiny little glimpse of what other people have experienced, but you know, being aware isn't always the best. You know, it's not fun to be aware, you know?
Right.
So,
right.
I mean, going to shows once all this stuff starts up, I mean, I just want to hug people. And not everybody's okay with that now. And I've had to learn that, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, cool.
Yeah, totally.
Well, let's do the elbow bump and, you know, that kind of thing. But it's like, okay, do I want people touching my beers? You know, can I bring my own beers to this show? Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to even start to process that, you know?
Yeah. I'm fully like, I already accepted the fact that I think I'm going to step foot into the first venue with people when we can, and probably just burst into tears. I'm probably just gonna lose it. Nobody's even gonna have to play a note, you know. No. I'm just gonna smell the inside of O'Brien's and like, just gonna lose it.
I can taste the Midway right now.
Yeah, exactly, man, exactly. No, dude, like that's the comment you made about countries that have experienced war I've never really thought about that.
Dude, it just kind of,
that makes so much sense.
Like I'm talking out of my ass. It's like
that makes so much sense.
This country is completely divided on everything.
Yeah.
Everything. You know what I mean? We haven't been forced to come together. I'm not saying that I want anything like that, but
no, totally.
We've been the muscle. You know what I mean? We haven't experienced it.
Yeah. I read an article the other day. I saw an article about country music in particular and how 9/11, well, the opinion of the person that wrote the article, or it wasn't an article, it was a series of tweets, but it was put in an article. But they made some really amazing points about the genre of country music and how 9/11 affected it. And I totally didn't even think about that as a contributing factor. I'm fully aware of the fact that I've always had a lot of issues with well, let's just say like the social and political content of pop country music. However, I never really put it into the context of pre 9/11, post 9/11. And then I thought about it and I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense, actually. People in that industry utilize 9/11 in a very exploitive way they certainly could have used it to unite people, bring people together, but they didn't. They used it to manifest a notion of American superiority and imperialism and like, we're better than you.
The great silent majority.
Yeah. You know,
that Southern machismo, you know, it's like.
Yeah, they referenced Toby Keith's song about the American way or whatever, like specifically being that like tipping point, to the point where artists like the Dixie Chicks like got blacklisted from country for like saying one questionable thing about you know, George Bush. And it's amazing. Like I knew that, but I never thought about 9/11 as being that tipping point where like you had an opportunity. I think they actually specifically said like, you had an opportunity there to bring people together in a really powerful way and be like super uniting and actually be like positive. and you did the opposite, which America's
and
very good at doing.
and the other thing that is very American, even if it was handed to you on a silver platter in the most positive way, you probably go, "Fuck this! You don't tell me what to do." You know what I mean? That's no matter what we do. There's that the fucking
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I think you're right, man. I think the process of the idea of like countries that have experienced a collective trauma uh has a huge impact on how they would value art, how they would think about art. So I
and
think like
community and how it keeps everyone together.
yeah, yeah. And I think we're at a again, I think we're at a tipping point with that. It's like we can go down one path or we can go down the other. And I hope we go down the right one, because in our community, it's like goes without saying, I mean, all of us, all any of us can think of is like the smell of the inside of the Midway right now. But the country as a whole, I don't know that I'm as confident in,
Yeah.
which is sad, because it's like, if this didn't show you how important, people that work in the industry are, I don't know what could.
Yeah. And it's the same thing with the entire virus. It's like, if it does not directly affect you, you don't think about it. You know what I mean? So a lot of these people, they might know a friend who's a bartender, but they've never been to the club. They've never seen the band. They've never experienced going out 3 nights a week and fucking having so much fun that you can't even, you don't mind going to work tired the next day, because that's how good it is.
Or
But
they haven't relied on those places as a place to share their art either, like
yeah,
to play on
yeah.
stage, to be there, like,
See,
as a
I it's a little bit of a self-deprecation thing, but it's like, I don't place myself with a lot of those people that actually pack a room and tour and can, they were making a living or attempting to make a living off of it. You know what I mean? Not that I'm a weekend warrior, but it's like, I mean, practicing twice a week and hopefully a show every couple weeks, and but that's as much as I've ever pushed it.
Yeah, but I think I mean, a lot of people are kind of in that mode. I think like most people most people that I know are doing are working off a similar schedule, I guess, or were before the pandemic. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
there's people, I know some people that are like trying to go for it and make it full blown living at it. And even myself as a sound guy trying to make a full blown living as like a touring sound guy or doing sound, it was challenging, like beyond belief before the pandemic. So
Yeah. Yeah.
you know that's the thing, is it's like it's a noir. It's like falling from the curb to the gutter. It's not even falling from a great height to the gutter. It's falling
Yeah.
from the curb to the gutter. It's like
Yep.
we were all hanging on by a thread anyway. um
And
so
and like you said before, I mean, if this helps turn people more to the arts to see the value in it, I'm not looking to be top tier. I'm looking for benefits for people that are full-time musicians. You know what I mean? Let's give some validity to their time and their energy and their process. um it's a little bit more difficult, I think, with visual arts to really be able to say, oh, that took you 25 hours, but it's just a white canvas with a line on it. You know what I mean? It's like, the humans need a physical product that they can consume or be consuming as they consume something else. And that's why I think music would be probably the next step to, okay, you're a full-time musician. Here's a different tax bracket. Here's benefits package that's affordable for you. Okay, you're working at 7 different places. Here's a way to make it all into one W-2 or something like that. I don't know.
yeah, or we see new industry, like new, like some type of a reimagining of the record label in a
Yeah.
different way or something.
Yep.
Like I'm just talking out of my ass now too, but like I don't know, maybe there's some way of like hiring bands to, or paying bands to play shows and like do their thing the way that, you know, a record label would, but in somewhat of a more sustainable, community accessible kind of way.
Yeah.
I don't know. um you know, I wish I had better ideas about that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
you know, to make stuff like that, to put stuff like that out there. But um do you feel like, in terms of your visual art, do you feel like the pandemic itself has left a stamp on your styles, your techniques, or things that you've created since? I mean, is the art that you've made since you've been doing like the live streams and since the pandemic started, has your art changed at all, do you think?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I feel like my art usually changes when when the juices are flowing and I'm able to try a new process, or all of a sudden something happens. I mean, I rely on happy accidents a lot. You know, it's like, oh shit, that actually worked. Cool. Remember that. We'll do that again. Um, I don't think it's really. I don't think there's a huge stamp on it. I think you'll probably see something like that in visual art a few years from now. You know what I mean? I might be able to look back and go, "Oh shit, okay, that was during that year." Okay, I have stuff that I started. We went on vacation last year in February. I sent some stuff out to my friend's house, did them out there, sent them back, and I actually just finished stuff. So they're like little small paintings, and I finally finished them, and they're not different. But I guess I never even thought of that. I guess there is something there that will kind of have a stamp, but it's not. My style hasn't changed. My process hasn't changed. If anything, I've gotten a little bit slower in my process from doing the live paint, because I'm trying to explain and show and step back and, you know, describe what I'm doing the whole time. But again, my personal painting has really suffered this past year. So I haven't really had time to change what I've been doing. So
Yeah, but I feel like I guess maybe the technique of doing it where you're explaining it to people, or you're kind of narrating what you're doing as you're going along, maybe that offers you space to kind of look at your own art in a different way, you know, or
most
from a different
most
angle.
definitely, I've got my laptop set up, the art's here, and I'm looking in the mirror the entire time, going, okay, all right, you know. So it is. I mean, I watch the way I stand. I watch you know what I mean. It is. It is under a microscope a little bit. So that definitely changes it. But I really don't think that I would be able to say that I can tell yet, you know, if there's a definite thing.
Yeah.
A definite change. But I've been doing the same shit for so many, you know what I mean? It's like you find your it's a visual language, you know what I mean? You got your own vocabulary. Same thing, you pick up the guitar. You do that one riff every time when you pick up the guitar, you know? It's like, okay,
right,
that's
for sure.
signature, you know? So
I bet you, though, like you said, like, you know, several years down the road, like you might be able to pick up a painting or something and look at it and be like, I did that during coronavirus. Like,
yeah.
You know, like that was a COVID piece. Cause I just feel like it's been unavoidable.
Yeah, no. And I mean, this is where I've got, you know, obviously got my guitars and stuff, and I would do all the recording in here, and I found myself, you know, trying to sing differently. And, you know, one thing I noticed is that from not practicing 2 times a week, I have no muscle in my in my vocal cords at all anymore. I mean, I relied on yelling. I relied on, you know, volume and kind of screaming a bit, you know. So I had a nice callus on there. And right now it's like I tried to do something the other day and it was like, ah! I was like, oh no. Let's start low.
Yeah, I feel like everybody's been like, yeah, it gives you the space to slow down a little bit, like be like, well, I'm not in a rush to release anything, so I can can dig into these things a little bit more. But at the same time, then you also like I guess just realize how much stopped everybody in their tracks, and everybody's got to like kind of like they were like rusty almost, you know.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, like you said, you're gonna walk into a club and be like,
I'm
you
just gonna
know,
lose it. Yeah.
I've seen my family a couple of times over the summer, and then had a few friends come and like we like make a swap of, you know, a beer and a painting or something like that. But it's like see each other for 10 minutes, like, okay, you know, and I don't know how to react, you know. I'm almost more this is becoming a little bit more fluid for me, you know. So
Yeah, I know. I feel like it's almost kind of sad. I like didn't initially like really didn't want to do like virtual interviews with people, but then I also was kind of like it couldn't be easier now to like
yeah,
talk to people, you know. But
yeah.
I also feel like I'm mourning the loss of the personal, you know, the in studio connection that you would have
Oh,
otherwise. So
I went. My buddy made me that guitar. My buddy Brendan for my birthday a million years ago, and had a friend at the Sound Museum, my buddy Johnny from Mercury on Mars. It's like, hey, can you straighten out this knob? I was hitting the pickup switch with the Bigsby. So he's like, yeah, I'll tweak it. He did that. It was February last year. I just got that guitar back last weekend. I haven't had
wow.
it for a year, you know. And so going to the space, he's like, oh, come in. I was like, no, bring it out. I'm not going into the Sound Museum. I'm sorry, you know. But it was like being outside, being in Brighton, being outside of that building. I hadn't been there in a year, and it was
Yeah.
just like, oh God, it was overwhelming to say the least. But my God, did I miss that fucking guitar?
One thing you also have been doing that I would love to hear about your inspiration behind is your urban photography, which I love because I I don't know how you find the things that you find.
So that's
Yeah.
getting out of work. I've had my iPod in all day, no headphones, no phone, just walking. And if something looks good, stop, take a picture of. You know what I mean? Again, don't bother with a hashtag. Don't bother with anything. Just there it is, right there in that moment, and it's just abstract art. You know what I mean? I love super, super, super abstract art. Someday I will have the balls to have a huge canvas and just really go for it, and not have it have to be something or something that somebody can buy. You know. And so this is a great way for me. It's like a cool down period. It's like a 40-minute walk from work to home. So it's like, okay, you know, I'm not going to do it today, you know, and I'm just walking. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, boom. And then I'm 10 pictures in and I'm home, you know? So it's a good decompression. It's what I would do on the tee. You know what I mean? It would like, it's almost like people watching, but without people. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. Bit harder to just randomly take pictures of people too.
Yeah,
you don't
no,
wanna
I
be
try. That's the thing is like
it's kind
there's
of a
so many
legal
cool
issue there.
houses and things, and I try not to include people's homes or material or
Right.
things like that. It's like it's just found objects, found art. But it's more. It's like a coping thing, and it kind of calms me down. You know, work isn't horrible, but some days suck, and it's just like if I haven't eaten, I get really pissy. I just turn into a giant baby, and I ready to snap. And this centers me. Okay, cool. All
Yeah.
right. And like I said, you know, do it a few times, and holy shit, I'm home. All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
It's amazing how something like that can have like a direct therapeutic result on one end, and then the people that are watching it, like myself, it has like maybe that wasn't its intended purpose, you know, but it's like, holy shit, this is really cool. I love the just, I don't know, you have a great eye for finding the intersection of, I'll say, like in industry and organic like biology that is kind of
yeah,
mingled in that
yeah.
exists in a city like really well. Just the micro as opposed to the macro, right? Like that we pass over all the time.
Yeah. And I love rust and bricks, you know, and broken concrete and stuff, and that's all Cambridge is, you know. So it's like walking home. It's not hard to do it, you know.
No,
Um,
but it's unique every time, and like you really find like some stuff. I feel like it's also been pretty metaphorical for everyone's experience and everyone's mood lately.
And I have a friend, and he's really, really old friend, college buddy, and we've always played music and stuck together. And I'm the artsy guy. He's the, he's a little more straight laced, and we talk on text, and we've done a few Zooms, but he's like, hey man, I really appreciate you posting those photos. It gives me something to look forward to at the end of the day. Thank you. And it's like, whoa, feelings from Durkin. That's weird, man. So, and he's a photographer as well. And he's like, these are great. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's like a very nice compliment from somebody that you respect their work too. But I'm always happy when something that I enjoy brings happiness to somebody else. It's not always the intended purpose, but it's great. Doing the live art thing too. I have friends that'll be like, I'll get a text when I'm done. It's like, thank you for babysitting the kids for a fucking hour. I needed that. And it's like, all right, cool. Glad I could help,
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's like, you never know. You never know who it's going to reach in that way. I mean, I honestly, I think you should frame them and do it like a series, just like they're great.
A friend just keeps that maybe once a month. She'll be like, when are you putting your book out? I'm like, hey, you want to finance it?
Yeah, a book is a rad idea too, man. Like that's great kind of content, I feel like, for a book. Because it's like a journey from start to finish, like, just a visual version of your walk home. It's kind of cool. I always love stuff like that. Like I just love hearing people's inspiration behind that kind of stuff, or like their process, because it oftentimes it isn't what it's intended. What they're doing it for isn't what it winds up becoming in the eyes of people consuming it. So
and I have no problem saying it's all for me. It's therapy. And if it helps somebody else, that's great. And I used some of the photos for Math Ghosts. Each track has a different image with it. So that was the instrumental album that I put up on Bandcamp maybe 2 weeks ago. I'm working on getting it out to people. But those are tracks that while I was mixing, I needed a break. So I would just kind of start farting around, and then I call them imaginary soundtracks. So they're all instrumental, and it's just kind of moody, but they all have their own little presence. And it was fun. It was fun to do. It was fun not to try and think of lyrics that were funny or poignant or whatever, and just put together a collection of sounds, really, so, but I was like, oh, I have no artwork for this. I'll go just digging through my phone, and I found a bunch of them and stuck them on there. And
yeah, 23 tracks on this release. Yeah. And I feel like that's a perfect pairing, of that style of photos.
I mean, I feel like it still sounds pretentious, like imaginary soundtracks, but they're instrumentals, and they're like little paintings or something, and that sounds even more pretentious. But that's why if you put a random image with it, you can see something different, you can hear something different, you can be somewhere, you can do something, at least that's what I hope, but it was fun to do. It's been good to take a break, because I mean, you were hopping from club to club to club to club. I was doing the same thing, and to have that downtime and be like, holy shit, I really love music. I love live music and I love seeing people and stuff, but I really love just plunking away and creating something. It's great. I mean, if I didn't have it, I would have gone crazy during this.
Yeah,
I mean, my whole life, but during this time, I'm so lucky that my creative wind musically came through, because my artistic wind was fucking gone. So
it's been a wave that everybody's been riding, and it's just been like, for me, yeah, I had to reteach myself a lot of stuff in the world of like writing or creating or recording, but it definitely is not linear. It's like whole months of absolutely nothing and just fucking off and like turning inward.
Yeah.
and
Well, I
then
mean,
and
that's
then 2 weeks of like, hey, I want to make some songs, and then another month of when am I ever gonna work or see people again, you know? Yeah.
have
So
you
I
have you
feel
re-
that. I feel that.
are you recording stuff? Are you going
Yeah.
to put something together or what?
A little bit. Yeah. I did 3 songs with my brother that we're working on now to release as just a 3-song EP. I don't know, man. Like it's just a weird time. And it's like the only upside I can see to it is hearing and learning about how other people are navigating a weird time, you know?
Yeah. Mo- Most definitely, dude.
I know through as painful as like the loss of venues has been and the loss of spaces has been, and like the loss of live music has been, it's been also imperative to everyone's like friendships and everyone's connections with each other to like know that there's support there, and like see the way that everyone has like come together to collectively grieve and mourn and like be activists and like raise money and like do everything, you know?
It's been a nice magnifying glass on seeing who I should have trusted my gut on beforehand, and who I know to stay away from when this is over. You know, it's like, okay, cool. You know, you make your decisions. That's cool. You know,
Yeah, for real.
but you know, that's the thing is seeing people at shows where it's loud, you don't really talk to them, and then the other aspect that you actually know them is on social media. Both kind of there's a barrier there. You know what I mean? So you don't really get to experience who they really are. So then when it's only left to social media, it's like, all right, cool.
It's definitely stripped away a lot of the layers of the onion and like, so to speak, you know, of like who everybody is and what matters to them, I think.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's like it's mostly been positive. It's mostly been
Most definitely.
inspiring.
Most
You know?
definitely. And
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be a negative Nancy, but I'm just saying, you know, sometimes I'm just like, holy shit, all right.
Yeah, but it's also like, you know, who you're going to move on from. You know,
Mm-hmm.
who's like, maybe you're just really not going to be a priority in your life anymore.
Exactly.
And that is healthy too.
It's very healthy.
That's a positive thing too, you know?
Yeah.
So in addition to the tracks that you that the Math Ghost tracks you already released, and then you've got a new batch of tracks coming soon, hopefully.
Yep. So it's called Several Nudes, and that should hopefully be out this spring on House of Watts Records, and they're in Missoula, Montana, the label, and I know them through some friends, and they sent my stuff and they enjoyed it, and they were like, "Hey, what can we do with this?" So I think they're going to help me with the getting it released digitally, and then we may be talking about vinyl and stuff. That's a really nice dream, you know. Vinyl's always nice and cool. It just always sucks when you got 250 pieces of vinyl that will never go anywhere, because the shortest run is 300 or something like that.
Yeah,
but
it's not cheap. It's not cheap for sure.
I've
But
got about shit. I think I've got about 300 of Hooker Klopp's 7-inch that we were going to release, and then we broke up. So it came after we were done. So it's like, wow, cool. But
yeah, here's hoping to like seeing some longer lines at those merch booths when things go back to normal too. Just like, hey, this is a band you never heard before. Like, give them a try. Throw them. What I mean,
that's
at the end of the day, you consumed some music. It's not a bad thing. It's never going to be a bad thing. So I don't know, man. I mean, I think like it's just finding those little micro upsides to things. It's like those little tiny positives that hopefully, will come out of it.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I'm not a pessimist. I'm a realist. I try to be positive, but I want to be proven wrong. I want everybody to really show who they are and be good to each other and support each other. because I mean, I think the human race is a terrible thing. You know, I think most of us are garbage. So, but
Well,
I'm proven wrong daily. So
I think we've all seen more than we wanted to see, more sides of humanity than we wanted to see throughout all this. But I
yeah,
think we're
yes,
pulling our own as best as we can. And if there's more to look forward to on the other side of it, then here's to that. And hopefully we can look out for the new tracks that you're going to release, and those are going to be released just under Dug McCormack. Yes.
yeah, just Dug McCormack,
All right.
DUG McCormack. Yeah, and
Cool.
check out Dug McCormack Art on Facebook, Dug McCormack Art on Instagram, and all the information's there. And yeah,
you can also find that latest release from Blue Ethereum that came out last November 2019, right? That's
yeah,
up on Bandcamp as well. So check it out if you haven't heard it before. And
Square Ape as well we got an EP up on Bandcamp too. And don't forget, March 5th is the first Friday, so that's Bandcamp Friday. So go buy some. I think they're doing that till May, so I know this might come out. Yeah,
it's a good time to pick up some music. Just help people out, and all the money will go directly to them. Bandcamp won't take a cut. So you can also check out Doug's live art streams on Facebook, where he paints live, and you're welcome to make a donation and check out the process of a painting from beginning to end. So check that out if you haven't already. And thank you so much for doing this, man. I really appreciate
good to see you.
having you on. It's been great to catch up, and looking forward to seeing more of your stuff.
Can't wait for your EP.
Thanks, dude.